Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Breckenridge Vipers hockey. Tonight, your Breckenridge Vipers taking on the San Diego Renegades up here at the Stephen C. West Ice Arena, the home of your Breckenridge Vipers. And as a reminder, tonight is the last night that we will be auctioning off authentic game-worn jerseys in our partnership with Boarding for Breast Cancer. In the fight to eliminate breast cancer, you'll see up on your screen right now a QR code that you can scan that'll take you right to the auction, and every single cent that is raised in that auction is donated to Boarding for Breast Cancer to help in the fight against breast cancer. I'm sure all of us have been touched by this terrible disease, and we ask that you please do what you can and hopefully come away with a game-worn jersey. That auction does end tonight at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So get your bids in now for the chance to pick them up off your player at the end of the evening. Looking at the league standings here, we got the Ice Raiders Reno at the top with 29 points, followed in second place by the Mansfield Barracudas with 13. In third, the San Diego Renegades at 11 points. And then in fourth, your Breckenridge Vipers with 10. So an all-important game here for the Vipers for playoff contention. And we're going to take a pause here for the singing of our national anthem. What a beautiful rendition of our nation's national anthem by Greg at Intermission, the Pipes of the Vipes. For the starting lineups this evening, the Renegades, number 81, Mulcahy, number 93, Lombardo, and number 7, Mata. On defense, number 19, Lewis, and number 42, Diamond. And in net for the Renegades this evening, number 31, Joe Walsh. Your starting lineup for the Breckenridge Vipers: number 8, Mitch Bailey; number 19, Alec Asenso; number 42, Garrett Bailey. On defense, number 97, Derek Scanlon; and number 25, Jacob Sinclair. And the netminder for your Breckenridge Vipers this evening, number 1, Brady DeVries. And here for the ceremonial puck drop, one of the families affected by breast cancer. We're happy to welcome Jesse to the ice. And we're just so proud to be partnered with a fantastic organization like Boarding for Breast Cancer. Get our red carpet put away here and we will be underway shortly. I'm sure that's what everyone is here to see. We're here for some hockey on a Saturday night in Breckenridge. Absolutely hard-fought and won contest by the Vipers last night, but let's see what the Renegades can bring to the table this evening. Definitely a performance out of the Renegades coming up from just about sea level, and the Renegades win the draw and immediately enter the Vipers zone. One turned away by DeVries already. And the shot by Noble held by Walsh. Offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Vipers. Alex Senso to the dot, take the draw for the Vipers. And number 23, that's going to be Travis, wins it back for the Renegades. Tossed into the neutral zone by the Renegades, and stick put on it by Bailey, kept out into the center, and it traded off again in the neutral. Just trickles past Mitch Bailey down to the end boards, and it's coming back out for a draw at the center ice dot. It's going to be a Senso to take the draw one more time, and to move, or pardon me, that's Limpenian who won that draw away, but it's controlled by the Vipers. G into the zone, fires one on Walsh, and it's turned aside. And the Renegades carry with speed through the neutral. Scanlon putting a stick on it. Poke checking that away, goes cross ice to G. G up to Senso. Senso fires one into the skates of Vanzula. Number 10 with the Renegades with a quick skate up the ice, and it's deflected off the blade of DeVries up and out of play. We'll have a offensive or a defensive zone face-off for the Breckenridge Vipers here. And that draw one back by Battenberg. Chipped around the end boards. But controlled by the Vipers eventually, and lost in the neutral zone. Battenberg battling for it through the neutral. Kendall with a stick on, Tilgast. All three must now tag up. Held by Lennard in the back and fired up through the neutral. And now carried on by Tilgast with a burst of speed. Tilgast blows a tire. Manages to cross ice pass to Eli Kendall. Kendall dumps it back down to Tilgast in the corner. Tilgast shakes one off. And it's gathered again by Kendall. Back to Tilgast. Tilgast shot on. Blocker stop from Walsh. Van Valkenburg with a shot from the corner. And Tilgast trying to force one in. Viper down on the ice. That is that's for unknown reasons at this point. Don't really see much of a reason for him to be going down. Maybe just caught it a little asunder of where he meant to. Draw one by Breckenridge, fed around the end boards. Now Scanlon with speed enters the zone. Tosses one at Walsh, who holds it glove side, and we'll have another offensive zone face-off coming up. That faceoff won by the Renegades, controlled and quickly brought across the neutral zone by 19. Shot wide of DeVries, rifles along the boards, back to the neutral zone, and it's gathered up by Scanlon. On a dump attempt, Scanlon fires one into the glove of Walsh. Walsh with that glove side, again, looking very strong for him this evening. It absolutely kept the Renegades in the fight last night, and I have no reason to think this early that anything else has changed. It looks like Walsh is going to continue to be a wall for the Vipers this evening, to have to battle through and pass in order to put themselves into third for the Clear Cup playoff contention. And Leonard fires one across into the corner, bounces for Bailey. Bailey cannot settle it down, and it's fired in by Leonard. Mitch Bailey, the puck carrier, dumps back to the corner. Vanzula attempts to clear for the Renegades. Bailey picks it up again, and I believe that's Ancio gets a shot on net off the rebound there. And both sides get a quick change. Luke Noble to the dot for the Vipers to take the draw. Draws one back by the Renegades, fired around the end boards, and they're doing their best to break away from it. And they put one past Brady DeVries on a very quick breakaway play. Viper got tangled up on that breakaway, trying to prevent that goal, and the follow-on by the Renegades was just too quick and too strong for DeVries to turn the second shot away that quickly. So early in the second game of the series, the Renegades lead 1-0 over the Breckenridge Vipers. Van Valkenburg punches it back down into the corner for Tilligast. Tilligast passes back to Battenberg. Battenberg behind the net controls. Back to Tilligast. Tilligast skating through the zone, dumps it off to Eli Kendall. Kendall on the attack, fires one into the pads, and we have a delayed penalty. Looks like they'd like Tilligast to serve some time in the bin. What for? We're looking for the signal right now. He got him with a high stick. So high sticking is the call there. 2-minute minor, number 17, Tilligast. So with just over 5 minutes into this first period, the Vipers go on the penalty kill and winning back the draw, firing to the opposing side's cage, and it's controlled by the Renegades. Back through the neutral zone. Tricky little pass back to themselves, and they look to set up the cycle. Renegades cycling, firing one on. Goes wide of DeVries. The Renegades retain zone possession. That pass broken up by the Vipers. Mitch Bailey holding through neutral zone, creating some space, creating time. Back to Scanlon. Scanlon fires one to clear and winds up putting it right into the jibs of one. of the Renegades. And now Ancio coming with speed across the blue line. Puts one on Walsh, nicely tossed on for a second attempt. And we'll have another stoppage here. A slash will be called. And the slashing penalty will be assessed to the Renegades. That'll be number 10. I believe that's Mike Hampton. 2-minute minor to Mike Hampton of the Renegades. So we are at even 4-on-4 hockey here. A little bit of excitement for 1 full minute, just the way those penalties shook out. So a little bit of exciting hockey. The draw won back by the Renegades and fired into the Breckenridge zone, now controlled through the neutral zone. Pushed on and in. Vipers down the boards, looking to make something in front happen. They've seen it a few times in the past 24 hours with that heavy rebound presence, essentially securing the game for them last night. Vipers will get a quick change in here. And a little premature stick play, but it's won back by the Renegades and fired clear for an icing call. So we come back to a Vipers offensive zone faceoff. Mitch Bailey to the dot to take the draw for your Breckenridge Vipers, supported by Derek Scanlon, Garrett Bailey, and Micah Reed. Garrett Bailey starting to establish the cycle out to Scanlon. Scanlon looking for the one-timer. And the Vipers have to tag up to remain on sides. Strong forechecking presence. And Micah tosses that one off the side boards. It's dumped into the Renegade zone, and the Renegades carry through the neutral. Nice little poke check from Garrett Bailey to create pressure. A lot of pressure going the other way. Looks like the Vipers dirtied up their own shooting lanes there. Derek Scanlon starts the cycle, passes it off to Tilligast. Vipers now on the power play for the next minute, or pardon me, for the next 40 seconds. Walsh holds the shot from Tilligast. And the Renegades will now get a change. Just at 7.5 minutes elapsed in this first period of night 2 of this contest. The draw is won by Breckenridge, fired back Tilligast. Tilligast to Kendall, and Battenberg is shoved to the ice by 14, the gentleman who kissed the glass last night and is wearing a nice little nose wrap, making sure everything stays where it should. Draw won by the Renegades and controlled in the Renegades end by the Vipers. Tilligast with a tricky little back pass attempted, but did not connect with Garrett Bailey there. Unfortunately, just a little bit out of position. Could not create the opportunity they were looking for. Now Kendall with some speed, quickly through the neutral zone, fires one on Walsh, and Walsh turns it away, looking for it out the side, making sure he did get that one. Now both sides to even strength. Kendall pushing through the neutral zone, dumps it on in. Tilligast with a aggressive forecheck. And Garrett Bailey holding him in. Van Valkenburg at the corner dumps it in, allows the Vipers a change now. And Mike Ivory coming out hot to attack the puck carrier. Renegades through the neutral zone into the Breckenridge end. And that's chipped up and out by Noah Solaski, but troubled through the neutral. And the puck winds back up in the Breckenridge Vipers' end. Settled down by Van Balken behind the net. And a quick little tip by Bernstein for an airborne puck sends that one up and out of play, and we will have a stoppage as the referees gather some fresh chilled rubber and head to the neutral zone dot in front of the visitors' bench. Alecancio to take the draw. Puck now controlled by the Vipers, carrying through the neutral zone. That's Mitch Bailey dumping it off into the corner for Alecancio. Garrett Bailey hustling to that puck, does not quite make it in time. And chipped in by the San Diego Renegades and quickly whistled dead by one of the linesmen. Looks like we'll be coming back out on an offsides call. Luke Noble to the dot to take the draw for the Vipers, and no true winner out of that draw there, but controlled by the Renegades and popped into the Breckenridge end. Dangerous loose puck in front of the net, and it is kicked up and over the glass. And we'll get some fresh rubber for the second time in about 45 seconds here at the Breckenridge Ice Arena. Draw won by Noble and controlled by the San Diego Renegades. San Diego Renegade taken off his feet and a little quick shove by the Breckenridge defender. And the puck accelerated up and into the neutral zone, but trouble clearing past the blue line for the Vipers. Good forecheck by San Diego here. An aggressive neutral zone posture is certainly helping them maintain some critical zone time. And we're going to send one the length of the sheet for an icing call. Renegades control off the faceoff in the Breckenridge end. Looking to establish the cycle. Puck is dumped into the corner where it is retrieved by number 7, and the shot by 44 off the shin pad of Luke Noble. And Noble inserting himself between the cage and the puck. And Vipers will go for a quick change, with Kendall providing some forward check pressure. And now we have Tilligas coming the other way with speed, putting one just wide of Jack Walsh. And the Renegades collect and transition smoothly through the neutral back into the Breckenridge end. They cannot maintain possession, however, and the Vipers pick it up with Rick Battenberg collecting it in the end for his first shot. Second shot, looking for the third shot, and well defended by Walsh. Battenberg is looking for another one, another night like last night, and I'm sure he wishes that the second or third of those would have found its way to the back of the netting, but Walsh really standing on his head to prevent An even game just over 12 minutes into this first period. Tilligast with speed drops it back to Jacob Sinclair. Jacob Sinclair does not get the mustard on it. And Eli Kendall is dragged onto the ice and shoved around in front of the crease. I'm sure he was undeserving of that one. But it looks to be no penalty called following that little altercation. Oh, I take it back. The referees will be putting the San Diego Renegades in the box for a 2-minute minor at minimum. I did not see the call as to what, aside from shoving the opposing player into the ice. I'm being told that that was likely a hold committed by number 14 of the Renegades. And that is Sorensen, number 14, Sorensen in the box. So the Vipers on the power play for the next minute and 45 seconds here. Mitch Bailey rifling one into Jack Walsh's pads, but held by Walsh. Face-off coming up in the offensive end. Got Alec Ancio coming to the dot to take the face-off. Supported by Dylan Svoboda and Mitch Bailey, as well as Van Valkenburg. And a little premature stick play with the Renegades side being told, You're off of you're off the dot. We don't like the premature ones here. Yep, and whoa, that comes up high off of 42. Vipers win the puck back, and it's controlled by Micah Reed in the Vipers' end. Micah looking to create some speed through the neutral zone, and he does. And Ancio comes back, but we're going to get an offsides. Draw one by Breckenridge, controlled by Micah Reed in the back. Drop pass for Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey through the neutral zone with speed. Crosses the blue line and looks to set up the cycle. Just over a minute remaining in this Breckenridge power play. Ancio sands a stick, is looking to be as much help as he can be, but unfortunately that position really does require a stick to become useful there. And now we got a little scrum on the corner, and the Vipers reestablish the cycle. And finally for the Renegades, the puck is fired out into the Breckenridge end. Kendall on the forecheck. Breckenridge goes for a change, as will the Renegades. Just 20 seconds remain in this Vipers power play. Kendall carries on through the zone. Battenberg setting up in front. G with speed tosses back to Kendall. Kendall fires one off. Just 5 seconds left in that power play, and that puck's going to trickle past the blue line. And Tilligast puts on the brakes, lets everyone get back on side, and Battenberg, just as the penalty ends, puts one right behind Jack Walsh of the San Diego Renegades. We have a tie hockey game, 15 minutes into the first. Fantastic goal by the captain, Rick Battenberg, to tie it up here. Doubtless they'll be looking for some more goals like that as the night progresses. A lot of sustained pressure, a lot of opportunities and patience on the Breckenridge Vipers side to come away with that goal there at the end of that power play. And the Renegades immediately answering back with a shot on DeVries, which is deflected off into the glass. Puck now back to the Renegades' end. Sinky over the stick of a Renegade, but not with the puck, unfortunately. Bernstein back to collect. Bernstein chips it back to Sinky. Sinky to Ivory. Ivory pitches it into the neutral zone. Unfortunately, nobody there to support that, and it winds up back on the stick of Selaski in the Vipers' end. Ivory dumps it into the end boards for a Vipers change. Jake Bernstein on the attack. Puck tossed up and over the neutral zone, getting it clear of Bernstein. And the Renegades looking to settle it down. Puck is held by DeVries in front of the Breckenridge cage. And the Renegades have another offensive zone faceoff coming up here with just under 4 minutes remaining in the first period. Draw one up by the Vipers, controlled and sent around the end boards. Sent in front of DeVries and then shot on, turned away by DeVries. And a big hit laid by Noah Selaski. Pardon me, that was Mike Fisk who put a big hit on 14. And now the Renegades return with speed, and unfortunately that little bit of chippiness on the ice has cost the Breckenridge Vipers a tie hockey game just 45 seconds or so after the tying goal. So the Renegades fall 1-2 against the clock with 3 minutes remaining in the first period. Alegencio to take the draw, wins it back to Van Valkenburg. Van Valkenburg fires across and it's given back. Ancio chasing that one into the corner. And it's popped out from Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey puts it back on the stick of Ancio, fires one at Walsh. Walsh holding those corners nice and tight. Saw what happened when Rick Battenberg got a chance. Garrett Bailey tosses it back to Ancio. Ancio with a quick little backhander. And Fisk just cannot capitalize with that, unfortunately. And we go the length of the ice, and it's covered by Brady DeVries. Just under 2.5 minutes remaining. Brady DeVries tipped the puck and caught it glove side following the Renegades face-off win in the Vipers' end. So we'll see another defensive zone face-off. Battenberg to the dot to take the draw. And draw one by Battenberg sent over to Tilligast, who puts his body in the way of that shot. And it bounces right back to the Renegade. Number 11 decides he doesn't need a stick for that, and in return, Eli Kendall with a fantastic opportunity, just disrupted by number 7 and, of course, 31, Jack Walsh, who has been doing a fantastic job both these games. And it's whistled dead with just over a minute and a half remaining in this first period. NCO wins the draw. Puck fired back along the boards to G. G cross ice pass to Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey up to Scanlon. Scanlon game zone. Attempts to get it to NCO, but pass does not connect. Garrett Bailey gathers it up at the top and shoots one on Walsh. Walsh manages to turn it away, but it's controlled by Mitch Bailey behind the Renegades cage. And now the Renegades defense pops it out over the blue line, and we're going for the icing call. We'll see another offensive zone faceoff with just a minute and 9 seconds remaining in the first period. Vipers really looking to even it up 2-all before the end of the first. I think that would make them all rather a bit more comfortable. That draw won by NCO, back to Sinky. Sinky forward to Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey up to NCO. NCO battling in the corner with 2 Renegades, and the puck comes loose direct to Jack Walsh's glove, and Jack Walsh covers up with 55.5 seconds remaining in the first. Draw won by NCO, back to Sinky. Sinky across the blue line to Scanlon. Scanlon with a fantastic shot, and just a bit late by Mitch Bailey there to hopefully bury one home. The Renegades back into the Vipers zone, but it'll require a touch-up as the puck has trickled past the blue line, and the Vipers get a quick defensive change. And Jake Bernstein, fresh legs on the ice, punches that puck free in the neutral zone. Garrett Bailey working hard to keep it on sides. Mitch Bailey getting a Renegade body thrown in front of him. He gives him a little shove. Now a little pushing contest ensues, and there appears to be a bit of an extracurricular on the ice. No gloves off yet, but Mitch Bailey copping it for sure. And there go the gloves from the Renegades, and Mitch Bailey is one tough customer. I'm not sure he's who I would have picked. And Mitch just drags his head right to the ice and says, "Have you cooled off yet, buddy? We can keep your head down here as long as you like. I'm taking your sweater." And he wants to fight more after getting his sweater taken off, and Bailey says, "Not a problem." Both benches clearing off to return a bit of composure to the ice. I did not catch the jersey number before Mitch Bailey took it off him and turned it inside out, making it rather difficult to read. And Bailey will be getting ejected for that little performance. But on the other hand, we could see an ejection from the Renegade side as well here. Just some absolutely unnecessary yanks by both sides, and the crowd is loving it. Things are really heating up here at Breckenridge. This might be the loudest we've heard the crowd tonight, and it's in response to a Breckenridge Vipers fight that was ostensibly won by the Breckenridge Viper. However, that ejection certainly did not make the fans pleased, as it would seem that it was begun by the Renegades. Just a couple hand taps. Hey, how you doing down on the ice? Everybody is looking forward to a little break at this point. the Renegades head off, and the majority of the Vipers make their way back to their own locker room. As a reminder, tonight is the last night that you have the opportunity to bid at the Boarding for Breast Cancer charity jersey auction. We're partnering with Boarding for Breast Cancer, working to eliminate breast cancer. And this is also your chance to take home an authentic, one-of-a-kind, game-worn jersey. That auction ends tonight at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So get your bids in now if you want your chance to take home an authentic game-worn jersey. And if you're here in the arena, well, you can come down to the ice and meet your player and get that jersey right off their back at the end of the night. Thanks so much. We'll be back with you in about 15 minutes here, folks. As always, we appreciate all y'all, and leave a comment, a like, and if you're really enjoying what we're doing, please consider subscribing.
I didn't realize the gravity of the impact it was going to have on the community. If I didn't have hockey, I don't know what else I'd do.
Nothing else in the world matters. When I come to the rink, it's just hockey. I don't have to worry about work, anything, right?
Hockey taught me everything that I needed to know about just being a good teammate and being a hardworking person.
Hockey to me is just a sense of freedom and passion and camaraderie.
Typical night out for us, hockey, hockey, hockey.
And not being afraid of that physical aspect of life and realizing that you're not super fragile and that's okay.
I went to the first ever Viper game.
Oh, there we go.
It's really in between periods where you take a step back and you're like, oh my gosh, there are like 800 people here. This is crazy.
It really feels like a community event. People come out now as it's a Breckenridge event, not a Friday, Saturday night.
Why did I do it? Well, the truth is, I just want to play good hockey again. It was really the truth.
And welcome back to Mountain Hockey League action between your Breckenridge Vipers and the San Diego Renegades. Renegades have earned themselves 2 berths in the penalty box following a little dust-up with Mitch Bailey. It appears Mitch Bailey may have also earned himself a spot in the home sin bin, and indeed that is Mitch Bailey, so he was not ejected. And it looks like we are just taking a moment to get all the penalties up on the score clock before we return to play. Battenberg to the dot to take the draw for the Vipers. Won back by the Renegades and dumped into their own end. Back around the end boards and chipped up through the neutral zone all the way along and collected by Derek Scanlon. Scanlon passes back to Tilligas. Tilly through the zone, pops one off the blade of the stick of the defending Renegade, and the pass doesn't make it to Battenberg. Ooh, off Tilligas, or pardon that, off of Kendall's face right next to the boards. Puck controlled by Scanlon at his own blue line. Eli Kendall with a little bit of speed, making himself thin there to get it through that defense. And the Vipers with the man advantage, but not the zone time they need in order to capitalize on that man advantage. The puck covered by Walsh and held for an offensive zone faceoff for the Breckenridge Vipers. Alec Ancio off to take the draw. Draw won by the Breckenridge Vipers. Micah Reed fires one at the block, at the knee of Walsh, and the puck just dribbling past Van Valken. And Van Valken going and collecting it behind the Breckenridge cage and fed on for Ancio. Ancio grabbing his hand, dumps a glove, and is holding on to his wrist down in the far corner.
So this will be interesting, Trev. So we already have matching coincidentals for the fight with Bailey and number 9 for the Renegades. And then they also took 42 for instigating. Now we've got another Renegades in the box for that slash there on, I think that was Asensio. So 3 on 5 here for a couple for 38 seconds. We'll see what they can do.
Yep, and draw won by the Vipers. Back to Scanlon, looking to set up a hard shot, and that one goes up and out of play. So we'll have another offensive zone face-off here. Just 30 seconds remaining on that first Renegade play, or pardon me, penalty. And the draw not quite won by either side, but controlled by Breckenridge. Scanlon fed it to Kendall. Kendall dumped it off to Tilligas. Tilligas back to Kendall. Back to Tilligas. Tilligas delays. Dumps it off to G. Garrett Bailey over and held by Walsh once again. Walsh continuing to keep and a whistle dead here. A little question about the time of the penalties, and apparently it was placed up on the rink board wrong. However, the referees looking at that said, "You've got 6 seconds left. Why are you out of the box?" And that draw won by the Vipers, unable to settle it down in the Renegades zone. Derek Scanlon passing up to Eli Kendall. Kendall feeds in front, and it dribbles across in front of that goal, but does not make its way in. And now we're back to some 5-on-4 hockey here. Cross ice pass for Scanlon from Battenberg, and just over the blue line, Scanlon controls, and the Vipers skate back to touch up. And Garrett Bailey bringing it into the zone, leaving it in front for Jackson Tilligas. Tilligas fires on Walsh. Walsh does not hold for once, and it bounces back out into the Vipers' end, where it's collected by Tilligas. Tilligas forward to Garrett Bailey. Garrett Bailey up to Ancio. Pardon. And shot on net by Scanlon is held by Walsh. And a quick discussion happening between a few of the Renegades and our refereeing staff are saying there's an elbow thrown there somewhere, I believe. Not sure. But nothing new on the board. The draw is won by Breckenridge. Fired on net. And that draw won by the Vipers and quickly fired on net. And held by Walsh once again. And 0 to the dot. And shot along the end boards, controlled by Van Valkenburg. Van Valkenburg back, rings the post. Is Dylan Svoboda ringing the post there, but unfortunately not in. And Luke Noble wins the draw. Back to Jake Bernstein. Jake Bernstein flips it into the corner. And now controlled by the Renegades. And poked away by Luke Noble. Noah Solaski skating out in front, looking for his opportunity there, but it will not come. Spence Leonard making himself broad and knocking the post free, or the net free of the post, pardon, and fired on and held by Walsh.
So real quick, as clarification for all the other penalties going on, which Mitch Bailey and 42 for the Renegades from the end of the first period. So we have coincidental, it sounds like double majors to an extent. So we have Mitch Bailey coming out with 5 minutes left here in the second and a whistle, and the Renegades player coming out at 3 minutes and a whistle. So got these boys sitting for quite a while here. From my understanding, they took him for fighting as well as instigator. So 15 minutes of penalties for him. And then I'm not too sure what Bailey got, but lots of penalties for both the boys.
Lots of penalties, but a goal for the Breckenridge Vipers there, just ripped off the seams and put it right in the back of the net. That is certainly quite the collection of penalty minutes for both sides early in this game. With a lot of runway left to play, it'll be interesting to see how both sides handle the loss of some very critical players to both teams.
Very interesting indeed. Mitch Bailey is definitely a presence on the ice, and I've definitely noticed 42 from the Renegades as well, so it'll be interesting to see how the teams adapt, missing those two.
Absolutely, and the draw won back to the Vipers. That was Mike Fisk and Spence Leonard battling up. And Garrett Bailey dropping back. Jonathan Van Valkenburg supporting. And now Fisk taking it up the ice and putting one on Walsh. Walsh will glove that and hold on to it for yet another offensive zone faceoff for the Breckenridge Vipers. Both sides get a change here. Fresh legs. And that draw won by the Renegades, but controlled in the Renegades' end by the Breckenridge Vipers. Jake Bernstein tosses one on net. And the high floating pass to clear is picked up by Leonard. Sending it up to Ivory. And collected by Luke Noble, carried onto the zone by Ivory. Ivory to Noble, Noble behind the net. Ivory again, back to Noble. Noble pushing in front, just wide. Good shot. gathered up in the corner by Jake Bernstein and whistled dead. Whistled dead as it was collected in the glove of number 31, Jack Walsh, an absolutely outstanding goalie for San Diego Renegades. Tilligast takes the face-off for the Vipers, and that face-off is sent down the ice by the Renegades. Controlled behind the net by Jacob Sinclair. Sinclair just a little fake and getting poke checked from behind through the neutral zone, but maintains possession and a good chance that fallen on by Walsh. Walsh covers it up. Vipers with a quick change. Alec Ancio to the dot to take the draw for the Vipers. One over and back to G. Sinky drops a knee, fires it into the back, and the Vipers look to reestablish the cycle. Garrett Bailey pitches it up to Derek Scanlon, who throws it on net. Now quickly the other way, Renegades through the neutral zone with a poke check by Jacob Sinclair away to Derek Scanlon to keep the Vipers out of danger there. 2-2 game with just over 12 and a half minutes remaining here in the second. 14 fires one on. That's Diamond, I believe, fires one on Brady DeVries, and it's held by DeVries for a Renegades offensive zone face-off. Draw won by Battenberg. Sent back to Fisk and along the boards. Gathered up by Tilligast, who drops it back for Battenberg. Little fake by Battenberg, who delivers the puck around the end boards. Back to Kendall. Kendall carries around, looking to establish a lane. Kendall to Tilligast. Tilligast dumps off to Battenberg. Battenberg and Tilligast look to control behind the net. Kendall up the sideboards to maintain control. And a beautiful interception there by Mike Fisk. Tosses it forward and on, but no shooting chance at this time. Oh, and a big hit on Rick Battenberg behind the net. And swung on and missed, and now we got two coming the other way. Spence Leonard holding him out. And now Eli Kendall with speed. Tilligast blows a tire. Tilligast off onto the bench, and the Renegades look to collect it in their own corner. Mike Ivory making that a challenge for them. Little battle going on at Zam doors. Renegades pitch it around. Bouncing off the Renegade skates, they set up their entry, and well off sides. A blind man could have seen that that one was offsides. That's unfortunate. And ladies and gentlemen, this is your final reminder to bid on our boarding for our breast cancer jersey auction. You can find the QR code, or you can go online to breckvipers.com for your chance to take home an authentic game-worn jersey that helps support the fight against breast cancer. And a big lumber chop from Ivory after the play has been whistled dead. They'll certainly be taking him to the box for that one. and 10 of the Renegades. That is Mike Hampton will also make his way to the box. And the Renegades complain that that might not have been enough of a penalty for Mike Ivory, who certainly took a big swing with a bit of lumber at the Renegades' knee there, but the captain is currently hashing it out with the referees. The Renegades captain, I should say, is currently. So we've got a 2-minute roughing call on the San Diego Renegades and a 4-minute roughing call on the Breckenridge Vipers. It's been difficult for either side to stay out of the sin bin for very long this game. And now with just over 10.5 minutes left in the second period, both teams have sent some more contestants to the penalty box to continue to make the game interesting. We're guessing that Mike Ivory thought that Mitch Bailey could use a little bit of company, and hence he decided to take a big swing for the knee of the opposing Renegade after the whistle was blown, and certainly a difficult call to justify in Ivory's defense.
Yeah, interesting to see what they do here. Looks like we got another Vipers player joining him in the box, so could have a potential 2 and 10 for that slash. I wouldn't be surprised when you see a windup like that. So looks like double minor, and potentially one of those is a 2 and 10 for the Vipers player. Pretty common when you see a windup like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it looked like John Daly playing golf. That was a big windup, big backswing, and he made contact through all of that. Didn't really seem to bother the Renegades, who are now on the power play. And that puck gathered up and controlled by the Renegades back into their own end. And now gathered up by Ancio, who fires it along for Garrett Bailey. Garrett Bailey on the forecheck. Supported by Ancio and Scanlon. Scanlon cutting the angle. Keep Ray DeVries out of danger there. DeVries, Scanlon, and Sinky sending it back. And Garrett Bailey and Alec Ancio out to kill this penalty. Off on just 1 more minute remaining, and Garrett Bailey takes a shot and just misses wide of Jack Walsh and must have missed the whistle, but they have whistled it dead. They've picked the puck up and they are bringing it back down.
We've got a 2-minute coming here for G on that hook behind the net. So Vipers are now going to be 5-on-3 as they were man down already with that last altercation.
Vipers are certainly seeing how difficult they can make it to win a hockey game here, and with the majority of the Vipers' first power play line stuffed into the sin bin, it's going to be a challenge for Eli Kendall, Jonathan Van Valkenburg, and Jake Bernstein to keep these Renegades scoreless through the next 40 or so seconds until they can get themselves back to a 4-on-5 hockey game. And the Renegades looking to settle it down here, get their cycle established, and Breckenridge with a successful clear. That makes it all the way down to the stick of Jack Walsh in the net for the Renegades. Renegades gathering up, and Kendall right through the middle of their pass in the neutral zone fires it over to Bernstein, who chips it along the backboards and sent out by Van Valkenburg. Again down to the Renegades' end. And the aggressive forechecking is looking like a questionable decision by Kendall. He's pushing hard to get back. And they've made it back. The first penalty has been killed off successfully. So we're back to 4-on-3. Although it looks like we may be going back to...
No, I think that's going to be too many men for the Renegades. Unfortunately, they clipped that player's foot as he was jumping off the ice. So interesting to see, obviously, what's shaking out here. Got a lot of penalty minutes from this game. Mike Ivory's first penalty for that 2-10 for the slash has expired. And Ricky Battenberg, who served it for him, is officially out of the box. Looks like we're going to have too many men for the Renegades. So we're going to be back to 4-on-4 on the ice, I believe.
Going to be some exciting hockey here coming up with some 4-on-4 action.
Have to love 4-on-4, always.
Absolutely. I love it personally. I think it really just accelerates what the game is. And if that's how they're going to play this, we would love to play it that way. I think we would all like to see some even strength hockey at some point tonight, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be in the second.
Absolutely. To watch these players, see what they can do with a little bit of open ice is always super fun to watch.
And that draw initially looked to be won by Ancio, but it's controlled by San Diego. And now Scanlon cross ice to Svoboda. Svoboda tosses it across the ice to the the near side corner. Ancio with a slide pass in front for Scanlon, and it just does not connect. Jacob Sinclair up to the point to grab that and keep it in. Ancio getting run into the boards a little bit, and the Renegades come away with that puck. Garrett Bailey up to Rick Battenberg. Battenberg circling to make space. Aggressive forecheck by the Renegades does not pay off. Garrett Bailey catches his stick up high in the jibs, but Battenberg carries on, supported by Tilligas. Tilligas chips one at Walsh, and it's tossed up and out of the zone. Foot race with Scanlon, and that'll be number 9 of the San Diego Renegades. Scanlon misses Tilligas on the cross ice pass, but G is there to pick it up, and G catches his own shot there and dishes it back to Scanlon. Scanlon gets his pass poked out of the way and shot on by 81 of the Renegades, saved by Brady DeVries.
Love to see G getting active right as he comes out of the box, staying hot. See what we can do with 14 seconds here of 5-on-4.
Yeah, great to see G just keeping that rhythm, not letting that little penalty impact his game. He is so important on the penalty kill and on the power play for the Vipers. Same with Battenberg. And that draw won by the Renegades, and the Vipers pushing hard, and the puck is lost somewhere along the Breckenridge Viper boards. Everybody's patting down their jerseys, checking the sweaters, making sure it didn't wind up there. We've located it, and the drop will come at the center ice dot. Ancio and Lewis to take the draw for their respective sides. Draw won by Ancio. Dropped back to Van Valkenburg.
Back to even strength here. We'll see how long that lasts.
And a nice shot out of the corner by Van Valkenburg on Walsh, but does not connect with the netting. And tipped. Beautiful tip.
Exceptional series of tips there. I think it caught 2 different players on the way in.
Just a fantastic goal to see. That looked to be tipped by Ancio off his stick, but we will wait for the official call here to see who that puck they're going to say was tipped by at last.
Yeah, I would love to see Asensio getting that point. Such a presence on the ice.
And so with that, with just over 5.5 minutes left in the second period, the Vipers have their first lead of the evening, a 1-goal lead, 3-2. And you know they're looking to finish it strong. The Vipers are in the box for at least another 20 seconds. That's Mitch Bailey. And then
yeah, that'll be 20 seconds and a whistle. So 15, 14 seconds here, and then a whistle. We'll see Bailey out of the box, and then another 2 after that, and a whistle. We'll see the Renegades player coming out. So these boys have definitely, gotten some time to rest the legs.
Certainly. Wonder how cold it's gotten their legs in there and how it's going to impact Mitch Bailey getting back out on the ice. He's certainly not used to sitting.
Yeah, interesting to see how he comes out of the box.
Yep, and Luke Noble carrying it on through the neutral zone up to G. G rings the crossbar, and another goal for the Breckenridge Vipers.
It doesn't get better than that, Trevor. It really doesn't. Backdoor pass, wide open, and the capitalization on that.
Absolutely gorgeous. G knew where he needed to be. They've been setting that on Walsh all night, and they finally managed to put another one behind him. So with that, and just under 5 minutes left, 4:42 left in the second, the Vipers extend their lead to 4-2 here at the Stephen C. West Ice Arena in Breckenridge. And puck shot on Walsh and up into the netting and out of play.
Good to see the boys are still hungry for more, hunting for that backdoor shot there. Really good attempt there.
Absolutely. Love to see the energy and the effort. Not giving up, not giving in.
And we have Mitch Bailey out of the box after 15 minutes of sitting. We'll see how he comes out.
And Bernstein pops one up. It just dribbles past Lennard, and DeVries sticks it away while the Renegades maintain zone presence. And now Asensio up to Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey looking to toss another one on the board, sticks it in front for Bernstein. They do not connect. But that is Mitch Bailey running into the Renegade on the board, and that one does connect, and there's a Renegade down.
Definitely a heavy body on the wall there. We'll see what shakes out. I might have seen a couple punches being thrown, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't make it for 5-on-5 for much longer.
And it looks like they're trying to get in a couple with the refs. Yep, they Mitch Bailey came across the ice with speed and just put a hurting on, I believe that was 92, who's currently skating away and looking a little bit dazed.
22 wants the fight from Bailey. I see him shaking his gloves. We'll see if we see that a little later on. Bailey's not usually the type to shy away from a fight, so that'd be interesting to see.
No, and he's already started undressing him for his first trick in the first act of tonight, so I personally wouldn't want to take him, but hey, that's it. And Scanlon's beat. Sinky gets down and low, and that puck rifled towards DeVries. Sinky putting his body in the way. That puck up and over the netting and out of play.
Exceptional defense with the dive there, and we love to see the sportsmanship from the Renegades too, slowing Asensio down as he was sliding in the boards.
Absolutely, class luck. Scanlon back to collect. Controlled by the Renegades. Shot popped off of Noble's shin pads. And fed on by Fisk. Back to Scanlon. Scanlon looking for Noble. Misses him through the slot. And quickly this play turns around, and the Renegades just sneak one past DeVries on the quick turn at the blue line. 3 minutes, 6 seconds left in the second period, and the Renegades close within one. 4-3 now the score. Your Vipers still on top, but very much a scorer's game this evening. Jack Walsh certainly keeping the minute. The Vipers already with 42 shots on the board, nearly as many as they had in 3 periods last night. That draw won by the Vipers and now controlled by Ivory. Ivory goes back to Van Valkenburg. Van Valkenburg pushes forward for Noah Solaski. And that puck is back to Van Valkenburg. The Renegades get a quick change. And up the side with speed, I believe that's Fisk.
42 from the Renegades, finally joining the ice again after 17 minutes of sitting there. I believe that was a 10, a 5, and a 2-minute minor there for him. So good to see him back on the ice after a good period.
Yeah, he had a good soak. He had, almost as good as seats as he would have had on his own bench, and we loved having him over on this side. Certainly a nice gentleman to have a quick chat with while we were able to. And Ivory delivers a big hit in front of the Vipers fan section. And there is cheering from the Viper fans. And the Vipers will get a change here. Battenberg back out on the ice with Tilligast, Bernstein, and Eli Kendall. And I believe that's Spence Leonard on the far side.
Love to see the student section fired up here.
Heck yeah. Oh, DeVries just dropped early on that one. Eli Kendall pushing it out over the blue line. And it's gathered up by Tilligast. Tilly takes a shoulder and gets right back up. Renegades coming quickly the other way. Bernstein gets a stick in the way, and that is popped up and over the netting again. Lots of pucks flying out of play this evening. 2 minutes remaining in the second period. And it looks like a few more of the Renegades would like to change. They're certainly and the draw won by the Renegades. Tossed in front, but no one there to collect. Bouncing puck across the slot. Gathered up by Tilligast. Tilligast back to Bernstein. Bernstein feeds it along around the end. And Battenberg tries to punch it out, but just does not get it past 44, who puts one up Breeze, but turned away with the knee blockers. Got a minute and 30 seconds left in this exciting second period. And Jake Bernstein looks to be going to the box after some light taunting by number 10. We're not really sure what the waving's all about. Maybe they're setting up a date for later. Giving him his mom's number. He's saying it's 555-555-5555. And don't actually try that. It's a pay line, and it's rather expensive for what you get. It's not worth it. 5 cents a minute, and it's still not worth it. It looks like Battenberg over to serve the Vipers' point of view to the referees. And Bernstein, indeed, will be making his way to the box. The minute 25 left in this second period. And number 10 will be making his way to the box as well. He is rather unhappy about that, believes that he should have been allowed to do it, but Bernie doing it, well, that's a slight against religion, God, and possibly a few of the other deities observed in India. But he is placed in the box despite his complaints, and now we will have a 4-on-4 set for the next minute and 25 seconds to close out this period and then 35 more seconds to start off the third period, assuming everyone can behave themselves for the next minute and 25 seconds, which is not guaranteed. This game has certainly gotten a little bit chippier since it began at about 7:38 this evening. That puck dumped on into the Renegades zone, chased down by Mitch Bailey, who was looking for the breakaway but could not catch up with the puck. And now Bailey aggressive in the back end for the Renegades. The Renegades carrying through the neutral zone. Entry just under a minute remaining in the second. And a lot of bodies wind up in the shooting lane of 23. And we go back to the other end where Walsh will play it with his stick up to the Renegades defender. Renegades through the neutral zone again, looking to build a little bit of speed. G there. Fired across. And the Renegades look to establish the cycle with just under 20 seconds left to play in the second period.
I'll be honest, not 100% certain what's going on with the penalties right now. It's 5-on-4 right now for the Renegades. We have 10 in the box for the Renegades, but it's not on the clock, and they're not playing a man down. So honestly, not too sure what's going on here. But
We'll try and sort that out in the break, folks, because I am also uncertain of what's happening there. We have seen some interesting things out of the clock tonight, but penalties not appearing has been not been one of them. So this is certainly an interesting contest as we go into the intermission between second and third. It's going to be an exciting contest, just a one-goal game here for the Vipers.
I didn't realize the gravity of the impact it was going to have on the community. If I didn't have hockey, I don't know what else I'd do.
Nothing else in the world matters. When I come to the rink, it's just hockey. I don't have to worry about work, anything, right?
Hockey taught me everything that I needed to know about just being a good teammate and being a hardworking person.
Hockey to me is just a sense of freedom and passion and camaraderie.
Typical night out for us, hockey, hockey, hockey.
And not being afraid of that physical aspect of life and realizing that you're not super fragile and that's okay.
I went to the first ever Viper game.
Oh, there we go.
It's really in between periods where you take a step back and you're like, oh my gosh, there are like 800 people here. This is crazy.
It really feels like a community event, and people come out now as it's a Breckenridge event on a Friday, Saturday night.
Why did I do it? Well, the truth is, I just want to play good hockey again. It's really the truth.
We are back live from Breckenridge for this third period action between the San Diego Renegades and your Breckenridge Vipers. A penalty-filled period 2 in the books. Both teams with some time remaining to kill off. At the beginning here, Vipers handily outshooting the Renegades, and Jack Walsh, the Renegades netminder, keeping them in this contest. Breckenridge leads 4-3. Quick conference occurring in front of the scorer's box, ensuring we have the right times up for the folks sitting in the bin at the moment. Ancio to the dot for the Breckenridge Vipers, and the draw is won by Ancio and controlled by Bailey and dumped up to Walsh, who kicks it free for the Renegades defenders. Strong forecheck by Asensio. His stick taken off of him. A little bit of lumber in front of the Renegades' goal. And the Renegades enter the Vipers' zone and look to settle it down on a freshly polished sheet of ice. And that one is sent the length of the ice by Svoboda. Mike Ivory tied up along the far side boards, and that puck brought out of the scrum by the Renegades and swiftly across the blue line, shot wide of DeVries' cage and settled down by the Renegades. And now Ivory with a good chance sends it just wide. Jacob Sinclair picks it up in the neutral zone, attempts to drop it back to Van Valkenburg, and Van Valkenburg pitches it for the Renegades to collect. And now the Renegades breaking away one-on-one, and DeVries turns him down. That was 88. The Renegades, who just got in front of, or rather behind, the Breckenridge defense. Good job by DeVries to shut that down. Sinclair pushes it forward to Kendall. Kendall quickly up ice. got Tilligast in front, sends it over to Battenberg, and Battenberg slams the brakes on and spins it around behind the net. Back to Tilligast. Tilligast drops it over to Fisk. Fisk picks it up and looks to establish the cycle. Tilligast shot off the post. And Breckenridge settles it down. Eli Kendall down to Rick Battenberg, and Battenberg's pass just sneaks by Kendall, and it's gathered up by Sinclair. Kendall skates the puck behind his own cage. And now Tilligast on the attack, quickly into the zone, supported by Kendall and Ancio. Ancio and Scanlon there to break that up. Shot on net and held glove side by Brady DeVries.
Alrighty, and a little bit of clarity with the shenanigans that happened right before the period ended. So it looked like it was matching double minor coincidentals for the chop and everything that happened before that for the Renegades. And it was a double minor for the Vipers player specifically because they went man down for 2 minutes. That guy came out on the fly, and then both those guys were into the box until, I'm assuming, I don't know what that would have been. 4 minutes and a whistle would be at 16. So I'm not too sure what went down with the periods there, but it was a coincidental and then another minor for the Vipers, but we were back to full strength, no one in the box.
Fantastic. We appreciate the clarification. That's Audie Pierpont, our director of live stream, and an extra set of eyes up here in the tower. Always great to have. It is sometimes difficult for us to see every little thing on the ice, and we certainly appreciate the assistance. That draw won by Ancio, kicked forward to Bailey. Bailey feeds back to Ancio. Ancio dumps into the zone, and the Vipers cannot control. Van Valkenburg drops it back to Garrett Bailey. Fisk sending one up and off the blade of his stick into the Renegades' end. And a good opportunity there for Svoboda. Held by Walsh. Offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Breckenridge Vipers. Luke Noble to the dot to take the draw. Won by Noble. Back to Jake Bernstein. And the Vipers cannot control it. Quickly through the neutral zone go the Renegade. And quickly the other way. We have Mike Fisk battling on the end boards with two of the Renegades, and he is supported by Svoboda. Svoboda back. Aggressive back check. And Jake Bernstein putting his body in the way there, helping Spence Leonard in the back. Settled down and pushed on by Luke Noble. Now controlled deep in the Renegades' territory. And lost in the neutral zone. Jake Bernstein collects it behind his own cage, quickly moving forward with Svoboda. Svoboda ties up with the Renegades, and it is poked forward by Fisk, but tossed loose, and now that'll be gathered up by the Renegades in the neutral zone. Fired off around the corner boards. And up and out of play.
That one actually ended up in the scorekeeper's box. We saw the guy running the clock, dive for cover there, and that door gets shut now.
And now they want to be locked in the booth, entirely enclosed.
Looks like we might get a delay of game here for the Vipers. That's unfortunate. Chip out just kind of went a little bit awry there, and the Vipers will suffer. So
the Vipers now on the penalty kill as 44 Noah Solaski. His pitch up to the neutral zone made its way just over the boards, and they're going to be assessed the Vipers will be assessed a 2-minute minor. Mitch Bailey takes the draw, wins it. Fighting hard to clear that puck out of the zone. And that is rifled into the far end by Fisk. Back to collect the Renegades with Mitch Bailey on the forecheck. Garrett Bailey with them at the line, and the Renegades elect to dump it into the corner. Back down and collected by Derek Scanlon and tossed down. And now Mitch Bailey with a chance on the penalty kill. One for Garrett Bailey. Mitch Bailey leaves one right out front for Garrett Bailey, and Bailey just cannot get it up over the knee pad of Walsh. And Walsh has just been a wall this game, keeping the Renegades alive. But here comes an offensive zone faceoff on the power play for the Vipers. Eli Kendall to the dot to take it, and it's controlled by the Renegade. Renegade behind the net, moving up to the blue line, drop back, gathered. And Tilligas with a little poke check sends it free, and the Renegades are forced to come out to the blue and tag up. Eli Kendo with a fantastic opportunity there on Walsh, puts one right into the pads of Walsh, and Walsh covers. And yet another offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Vipers on the penalty kill. And Eli Kendall again controlling off that faceoff, sends it around, and Tilligas giving chase. Quickly fired across the neutral zone, and it turned back around by the Vipers defense. And Micah Reed to the corner. Micah sends it the length of the ice, cross ice, and it is held in the back by Walsh. Walsh gives and go to 14. A little bit of a slower zone entry and a good chance, but the Renegades unable to capitalize on that slot pass. And Brady DeVries all over it, right on top of it, diffuses the threat with the penalty expired. We are back to even strength and a Vipers defensive zone face-off coming with just over 12 minutes remaining in the third period. A little bit less excitement in terms of whistles and box stays for both sides as we've made our way into the third period. I believe they may have learned a bit of a lesson in the second when the total penalty time for both sides was, I believe, over 30 minutes.
Definitely. I think we probably played more man-down hockey than we did even strength in that last period.
Absolutely, and I think the boys their legs are definitely feeling it. Both sides, both benches, I would hazard a guess. And that pass from Scanlon just gets ahead of Svoboda, who is unable to catch up to it, and the icing will bring it back to the Vipers zone.
Love to see the Steve filled up here. I can see the beer pyramid has been knocked over 3 times so far, but they're quite persistent. So good to see people here having fun, enjoying the Vipers games.
Absolutely, good crowd, and yeah, that's quite the impressive beer pyramid that they have begun constructing over there.
Definitely.
And now some good defense by the Vipers as the Renegades control deep in the Vipers zone. Flicked up and into the neutral by Garrett Bailey. That'll die on the far side boards, and the Vipers will regroup. DeVries outside his crease makes a long reach and snags that puck out of the air. He was in no danger. It was going wide, but looked like he was facilitating the boys getting a quick change in there, and they will get it. Both sides will get a quick change. And we're just under 11 minutes left to play in the third. That draw won by the Vipers, Ancio. And beaten back into the zone and collected up by Bernstein. Bernstein up to G. G gives it to Anzio. Anzio across the crease, and Garrett Bailey looks to deliver the same cross-crease pass and just does not connect. Spence Leonard off the side of the Renegade cage. And now Anzio and Bailey standing just outside the crease looking for that rebound or that cross-ice pass to sneak one past Walsh, and that is a tall order. Walsh has been standing on his head tonight to keep the Renegades in this fight. And Garrett Bailey, with a little bit of speed, delivers one just out of the reach of Jack Walsh, and play continues. Anzio puts one forward, and Bailey looks like he was going for it, and there's a little bit of belly aching going on in the crease of the Renegades, and I don't blame him. If I had taken 50 shots in the first 50 minutes of the game, I'm not sure I would be too pleased either. That's a shot a minute so far that he has had to defend and only let 4 pass. That's pretty darn good. That face-off is tied up and kicked free. No positive control yet. Micah Reed throwing himself around. Mike Ivory gets his blade caught in one of the sticks by the Renegades, and the Renegades turn it around quickly and pop it up in the air, looking to pass to himself. Manages to get it to Van Valkenburg. Instead, Van Valkenburg sells it down and tosses it across. Both sides looking to settle it down. Ivory comes in hard, lays a big hit, but does not come away with the puck. Noah Solaski attacking, and that puck is free in the end boards. And dumped in by Breckenridge. Eli Kendall misses it, and the Renegades miss that Kendall has missed it. Now Battenberg circles, fires one at Walsh off the blocker side. Scanlon looks to set one up right into the glove of Walsh, and we will have an offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Vipers here with just over 8 minutes left in the third period, with the Vipers leading 4-3.
I tell you what, if there's anything to be said about the Renegades, it's that Walsh is absolutely still on his head tonight to keep him in the game.
Absolutely. 51 shots on net with just 8 minutes remaining. Keeping steady at that 1 shot a minute from the Vipers side, and he's forced to cover that one. A nice shot from outside by Jacob Sinclair. Winds up bouncing off the pads of Walsh. And looks like Tilligast is having a bit of a conversation. That might be Kendall. No, that'll be Tilligast.
Yeah, 11, the captain for the Renegades, definitely a little extracurricular. Nothing out of the ordinary for him. He's definitely very protective of his crease. Doesn't really let anything slide in there. So.
Yep, we've seen that a few times, and to the referee's credit, it has not been called. I believe they understand as well as we do that the goalies are going to get a little bit of extra protection. And 11 seems particularly territorial about his goalie's crease, and nothing bad to say there. And some big hits leveled on the near side boards, but the puck remains loose and out of anyone's real possession. That's Svoboda pitches it in for Noble. And Micah Reed backs up with with Van Valkenburg quickly. And we're coming back after the icing touch-up.
Love to see it. I mean, honestly, a great hockey game. Super physical. I think we definitely have calmed down a little bit here in the third period. I think both teams are kind of realizing that it's not advantageous to be playing dirty. So I think we've leveled out to kind of a nice level of physicality here.
Certainly. I think both teams have seen that number of penalty minutes is not a benefit. Mitch Bailey fights and stick handles hard after that win off the draw by Ancio and puts it on net. It just elevates up and over and flies into the netting out of play. I'm sure he's going to be looking to do that again, create a little bit of space here. And he does, and Garrett Bailey's right there for the follow-on. Walsh actually, for the first time, winds up turned around facing his own net, and Mitch Bailey back into the zone attacking with G. G back to Mitch. Mitch takes a big swing on it and misses. And Garrett Bailey leaves it in back behind for Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey cross ice to Jake Bernstein. Bernstein pops one up. One of the Renegades has taken up residence inside their own net, and it is not their goalie. And now a 50-50 puck loose in the neutral zone, and it sunk back into the Renegades' end. The Vipers will get a change here. Garrett Bailey hard on the forecheck. And now Mike Ivory attacks the net. 57 shots on Walsh now. Just 6 minutes remaining in this third period. Very exciting hockey game. Could go either way at this moment. And the Vipers are pressing hard to put another one on the board. And whistle dead as the referees lose sight of it in traffic.
Kind of starting to see the game boil up here again. I wonder if we'll see some more of the second period action that we spent last period seeing. Definitely starting to see the game heat up a little bit. See everyone kind of wake up after coming off the intermission there. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen here.
Absolutely, a lot of energy still building with just 5:45 left, and Battenberg wins that draw. The shot from Sinclair finds traffic, and Tilligast putting another one on net. That one also wide as the net gets bumped off its pegs, and the play is whistled dead. Battenberg back up to the dot to take the draw. Flanked by Kendall and Tilligast. Scanlon and Sinky behind. Draw one back to Kendall. Kendall feeds it over to Sinky, who fires it behind the net for Tilligast. Tilligast comes around looking to establish a cycle. Drops to Scanlon. Scanlon to Battenberg. Battenberg into the chest of Walsh and back to Scanlon. Scanlon sends it across, and it's picked up by Sinky. Sinky leaves it behind the net. Tilligast battling behind the Renegade cage. And Battenberg shoved down behind the Renegade cage, and now the cycle setting up. Tilligast in front with the chance, and Battenberg through the 5-hole.
And it'll go,
Absolutely
finally.
Beautiful.
And it'll go, finally. All that pressure in front of the net, it was bound to happen eventually.
Absolutely, and the draw is won by NCO. Control in the neutral zone by the Renegades. Renegades putting one on Brady DeVries, but pushing it well high. And Mitch Bailey controls back to G. G back to Mitch Bailey. Mitch Bailey enters the zone. Dumps it back behind himself to Garrett Bailey. Little tie up behind the net between NCO and number 11 of the Renegades. That puck is gathered up by Lennard. Again dumped into the Renegade zone and fired on DeVries. And we are back to a 1-goal game with 4 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. So Breckenridge's 2-goal lead cut to 1 very rapidly. Won by the Renegades. Carried through the neutral zone with speed. And DeVries is not taking any chances, covers this one up. And a defensive zone face-off coming for the Vipers. We've got Luke Noble down on the ice, supported by Mika, pardon me. That's Noble, supported by Micah Reed and Spence Lennard. Pardon, Van Valkenburg down there, and we are whistled dead almost immediately.
Some colorful language there for the Renegades bench. Clearly fired up, disagreeing with that call, but fortunately they don't have quite the angle that the officials do.
Certainly not, and I trust that the officials made the correct call there. And DeVries holds on to it to maintain the Vipers' a 1-goal lead. That shot right into his chest. 3:45 remaining in the third. Vipers lead 5-4. And that draw controlled by the Renegades. Popped up, now behind the Breckenridge cage. Carried out with speed by Kendall and Tilligast. Tilligast into the side of the net, and Walsh is out of position. The play is not dead. If Battenberg can get this around, and unfortunately Walsh just makes it back in time to save what could have been the return to a 2-goal lead for Breckenridge with just over 3 minutes remaining to be played here in the third. And Tilligast, a good heads-up hockey play there, knowing that's going to come out. Working with Kendall. Kendall delivers a little bit of a shiver to 14, and now Kendall in front takes the feed from Anzio. Anzio controls in the corner, back to Tilligast. And we have a delayed penalty coming up against 14 of the Renegades.
14 will be going for at least 2 there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more. He just grabbed the back of his head and smashed his face in the ice.
Oh, and we're seeing it right there. Yeah, It looks like he took some of the verbiage from number 13, Eli Kendall, a little bit seriously and has wound up back in the sin bin. I believe it's his third visit for the night. We do not give out punch cards, unfortunately, or he would definitely be entitled to a free soda by now. And there he is getting skated off, and Vipers with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go will have a 2 minute power play with the Renegades in the box, giving them just 40 seconds of even strength hockey at the end of this contest. And that draw won by the Vipers, controlled up at the blue line. And a big shot swung on and missed by Micah Reed. And Mitch Bailey with a really amazing heads-up play there to keep that onside, skates it in, and is causing all sorts of havoc for the Renegades. Oh, and that was a beautiful shot. Just went off the crossbar for Anzio and dished up from the side by Micah Reed. Now back to Bailey. Pardon, that was Svoboda. Up to Bailey, and now across to Scanlon. Bailey to Scanlon. Scanlon tosses it to Anzio. Anzio's shot bounces off of Walsh. Anzio back in possession, and the puck dribbles past the blue line. Vipers will have to tag up. Just over a minute and 30 left to play in this third period, and Rick Battenberg on the attack fires one into the Renegades' skates, and the Vipers go for a change. And before Mitch Bailey gets off the ice, he diffuses the situation with a quick shoulder to the puck carrier.
That usually does the trick.
It tends to, especially when it's Mitch Bailey delivering it. Jackson Tilligas looking to set himself up for that cross-ice seam pass there. Does not get it. Instead, we go Battenberg to Bailey. Bailey across to Tilligas. Tilligas to Kendall. Kendall back to Tilligas, and we dribble over the line. And the Vipers have just 10 seconds left in their one-man advantage. Left behind for Kendall. And the puck is blasted up and into the netting and out of play. Now just 45 seconds remaining in regulation. Vipers lead 5-4, and 5 seconds left on this penalty. Appears as though we may have a timeout called by, yes, that'll be a 1 minute timeout called by the Renegades, and they can be dangerous after this. We've seen what they can do with a little bit of planning, and that is a dangerous position for the Vipers.
That's for sure.
Easily become an overtime game if they are not careful.
Tell you what, 45 seconds is a lot of time in a hockey rink, and I mean, one goal is not very much. I will say, Walsh, the Renegades goalkeeper, is looking absolutely exhausted, pretty fed up with the night. I think he's definitely ready to be done. So it's interesting to see how he holds up these last 45 seconds. We were getting a little chant there from the student section. So
yeah, 63 shots against Walsh this evening. He has stopped 58 of those shots, an absolutely incredible save percentage.
Yeah, I tell you what, if there's, no matter what the outcome of this game is, I know that he should go home proud tonight, that's for sure.
Absolutely. A fantastic performance out of Walsh this evening. He can hold his head up high, even with Renegades loss looking likely. As you say, 45 seconds left on the clock. Pretty much anything can happen here, and although that time looks to be moving quickly, it's moving anything but for those keepers. I guarantee that right now.
Back to even strength on the ice.
And now Tilligas feeds across to Scanlon. Scanlon's shot held up and going quickly the other way. The Renegades wind up with the icing call.
Tell you what, the Renegades needed that. Definitely going to be disappointed after not getting that one, not winning that race.
They definitely needed to capitalize on that one. Burned 22 seconds off the clock in that little scrum on the sideboard, and just with that breakaway, I don't know that they're going to get another, and they really needed to capitalize there. Face-off controlled by the Vipers. Cycled and winds up on the stick of Garrett Bailey. And a shot on by Sinky. Sinky has had a beautiful beginning here, and the Vipers take the game 5-4, 65 shots on net for the Vipers. But an absolutely fantastic performance up here at altitude for the San Diego Renegades. Absolutely lights out performance by Jack Walsh, their goal. Stopped so many of the shots sent his way. And very nice job by Brady DeVries holding the Renegades to just 4 there. His defense definitely stepping into a lot of lanes, helping dirty those up. But a fantastic contest overall. We'd like to thank you all for joining us on this fantastic Saturday night for hockey. I've been joined in the booth by Ollie Pierpont. He's our director of production. My name's Trevor Poole. It's been fantastic hanging out with everyone this evening. Everyone stay safe, and you stay classy, Breckenridge. We will catch you again here in 2 weeks' time.